What's wrong, babe?
I don't know. I was just thinking it's so crazy. Like 20 years ago, we had Johnny Cash, Bob Hope, Steve Jobs, you know? Now we have no Cash, no Hope, and no Jobs. It's sad.
Well, wait. There is hope. Look. Check this out.
What is that? Oh, wow. Vans built up a loyalty program with 10 million members in just 2 years with Cheetah Digital.
Right?
And members spend 60% more than non-members.
And in a recession, who doesn't love a good loyalty program?
I love a loyalty program. You're my loyalty program.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love you.
I love you too.
I'm in your program for life. Yeah, you're stuck with me. VIP, all the way. I love you.
9 times as many U.S. consumers want to participate in more loyalty programs this year. Join us at Signals 20 to learn how leading brands turn customers into advocates, even in the toughest of times. Signals 20, the content series for marketing rock stars.
Oh, this one's going to be awesome. This is tips from the experts.
Yes.
I love experts.
Hello and welcome to Signals. My name is Bruce Swan, Senior Director of Product Marketing here at Cheetah Digital, and thank you for joining today's session where you'll learn a few tips on how to deliver a loyalty program as unique as your customers. And thankfully, I'm not alone today. I'm joined by John Siegel. John, say hello.
Hello everyone, my name is John Siegel. I'm Senior Vice President here at Cheetah Digital, responsible for our loyalty solutions business.
And thank you, John. And my name is Bruce. I'm on the product marketing team here at Cheetah Digital, and among other things, we're responsible for the go-to-market strategy for Cheetah Solutions. I create content and thought leadership, spend time with prospects and customers, and also enjoy evangelizing Cheetah Solutions in events like today. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so. For today, we're going to cover off on a few key things. First, market dynamics as it relates to customer loyalty and loyalty programs. Key building blocks to consider to help deliver an impactful loyalty program, relevant Cheetah solutions when thinking about customer loyalty, and we'll cover a few best practices and considerations as John gets into 3 design principles for a loyalty program. And the key takeaways for today's session are as follows. Identify building blocks for a best-in-class loyalty program, how Cheetah solutions map to different use cases, and lastly, and equally as important, where to go for additional resources. So hang in there until the end and we'll point you to some useful resources that you can use to continue to study up on long after this session. If you're like me, feeling a little cooped up of late, you've been thinking about that next vacation. And not just any vacation, a big vacation, someplace fun, someplace exotic, maybe a place on your bucket list. So think about that vacation for a few seconds. Your next big trip. Not just where you would go, but how you would get there. What airline? Where would you stay? How would you book the trip? Think about the brands you would rely on to make that happen, and which brands you are loyal to and why. Similarly, think about shopping for a second and what brands you rely on for things like clothing or electronics or groceries or consumer packaged goods. So much has changed. We spend less time in malls and stores and much more time online, which might change which brands you're loyal to and how you engage with them. So think about what brands you're loyal to for shopping and why. And lastly, something very relevant of late, who do you rely on for media and entertainment? We have so many options for streaming media. Why are you loyal to these services and which ones do you choose? There are many reasons to be loyal to a brand. Typically what come to mind, the products or services or price or whether or not they have a loyalty program. And while those are important reasons, they aren't the end-all be-all of building meaningful customer relationships and establishing customer loyalty. Consumers now seek value and loyalty differently. They want meaningful experiences and are willing to switch from one brand to the next to get that, going way beyond price, products, or the presence of a loyalty program. And what that means is customers want accessibility. Is it easy to engage with a brand and make purchases on a mobile device or through any digital means? Do consumers trust the brand? Consumers are willing to give up data and a little bit about themselves if they trust the brand, which can drive a true value exchange between the consumer and the brand. Authenticity. Consumers expect authentic engagement that's meaningful, that's memorable, that's humanizing. Often, consumers want their personal beliefs to align with a company mission. And when consumers engage, they want to feel known and appreciated every single time, and they want unique experiences, regardless of the touch point or device they're engaging upon. They want unique experiences as unique as they are. But loyalty programs that focus solely on points or are offers-based or transactional in nature won't cut it today. During the data-driven signals content from a couple weeks back, I talked about how hard it is to capture the attention of the consumer considering how many messages or ads they face in any given day. So it's hard for a brand to stand out among the noise with just offers or being very purchased or transaction focused, and it's not what consumers want. What they do want are meaningful experiences every time they engage, regardless of the touch point or device that they're using. And this goes beyond the products and services of brand officers or going beyond simply joining a loyalty program. Rather, it's a connection built on emotion and trust that makes that consumer feel respected and valued. And that positive connection will make customers purchase more often, be that much more loyal, and also be that much more likely to be a brand advocate who will be your best marketer. And here are some of the realities about loyalty and loyalty programs for today. Starting with the chart on the left, Forrester states that 89% of consumers belong to at least one loyalty program, but there is a realistic cap of the number of brands customers are loyal to. 60% are loyal up to 5 brands, then it drops off precipitously from there. So there's a battle for brands and marketers for the share of wallet or share of loyalty. But if you achieve that, there are rewards. 57% will spend more with the brand they're loyal to, and 77% of consumers will stay loyal to a brand for at least 10 years. What's also important in today's world is accessibility. Through digital means or mobile, especially loyalty programs, and this is where this stat at the bottom shows that 3 in 4 consumers engage with loyalty programs on a mobile device. Simply put, it's what they expect. And also consider the realities of today. A few weeks back, Sharv Van Boschkirk from Forrester shared some of her research during a Signals session. And she talked about the realities of today and how personal priorities for consumers have changed. Consider 50% will avoid crowds, 43% will spend less time in physical stores, and 45% will spend more time at home. And this underscores the need for marketers to know who your customers are, what's changed for them in the past year. And not just understand who they are, but anticipate what they're likely to do next, which lends to a positive experience in making that all-important connection. But this can be a major challenge for marketers, but certainly not the only challenge. First and foremost, the empowered consumer. Consumers can engage with your brand whenever and however they want. And as a marketer, that means you need to be ready each and every time to make that connection. And typically, marketing teams rely on dozens of tools to do their job, typically different tools to help them manage engagement across different touch points. And this results in fragmented data, where customer data resides in different systems that aren't integrated. Therefore, the marketer can't get that single, accessible view of a customer. This also lends to disconnected touch points, where it is a challenge to cohesively orchestrate engagement across all channels where customers engage. And lastly, legacy systems that become increasingly difficult to maintain as well as integrate with. This increases cost and marketing inefficiencies. However, if these challenges can be overcome, there is definitely value to the marketer and the brand. Loyal customers are the best marketers and will likely be an advocate for your brand. Loyalty leaders grow revenues roughly 2.5 times as fast as other companies in their respective industries. And 70% of consumers are more likely to recommend a brand with a good loyalty program. And with that said, let me turn it over to John, who will talk about the building blocks you'll need for a best-in-class loyalty program.
Bruce, thank you very much. Earlier this week, I had a chance to interview Emily Collins, Research Director at Forrester. And one of the topics we discussed were the 6 core competencies brands need to invest in to build a best-in-class loyalty strategy, not just a loyalty program. And those core competencies include strategy, research, process, technology, measurement, and people. For the purposes of today, we're going to focus on technology. But I think the key point to think about here is to build a unique, best-in-class program, you need a really strong foundation, and the technology component is a key element of that foundation. As part of the technology foundation, there are really three concepts I'd ask you to think about, three key building blocks that you need to consider when you're looking at the technology investment you're going to make to support a world-class loyalty program. Those three building blocks include a data platform where you can bring all of your customer data together in one place, a set of applications to drive engagement that are tightly integrated to that data to help motivate and reward customers, and this whole foundation needs to be built on top of a modern architecture. And we'll go into detail on all of these and what they all mean and why it's important. Let's start first with the data platform. Most brands have customer data spread across many legacy systems, and it's very difficult to get a complete view of the customer in that kind of an environment. So this part of the foundation, having a system that has a data platform where you can bring all the customer data together in one place, is very important. Now, in the loyalty systems of the past, there really only were a couple data signals you had on your customers. And it was typically a purchase event or a visit. Today, however, to build a world-class loyalty program, and we'll talk more about this, you need to actually be able to bring together any and all customer data signals that your customers share or send to you on a regular basis. These could be clicks on a website. These could be preferences or passions that they share with you. Certainly includes purchases, but many, many, many more signals the system needs to be able to understand and ingest. The data structure for the data platform also needs to be flexible. There's no way you can anticipate everything you're going to need to know about a customer 3 months out, 6 months out, 12 months out. The world's changing, and we'll talk about this. So having a flexible data structure is absolutely critical. And then having a data platform that allows you to do advanced segmentation, build audiences for purposes of driving campaigns and various journeys that you want to create for those audiences. These are all critical functions that you need to have as part of the data platform. The second building block, we've called it insight to action, but really what this is all about, it's about having very tightly integrated systems of engagement that can actually continuously monitor the data for changes in state, and then be able to trigger personalized, automated journeys based upon the change in the data. And at the end of the day, what you're looking to do is use what you know about customers to motivate and reward their behavior for things that are beneficial to your brand. It could be more visits, could be increasing their spend on an individual transaction or over time. But the key point here is these systems need to be tightly integrated to the data, otherwise the data is not actionable. And then lastly, the actual architecture upon which all this is built, it has to be modern. As I shared earlier, the loyalty systems of the past were looking at a few signals, a purchase event as an example, or a visit. When we're looking at exponentially more signals that customers are sending, the system needs to be able to ingest those signals in real time and be able to analyze them and create these very relevant and personalized experiences on websites and mobile apps and through messages. And only a system that can scale to the very largest volumes, tens of millions, billions of transactions, will suffice in a modern loyalty program of today. Secondly, the idea of configuration is another key aspect of a modern architecture, that you can actually configure the business rules to closely fit the needs of a business in a system without actually having to custom code. A modern architecture would support that. Legacy traditional architectures don't. And lastly, because in today's environment, there's literally dozens of applications and consumer touch points to integrate with, a modern architecture always comes with, or should come with, application programming interfaces that expose all the functions, all the capabilities, so that it's absolutely easy to integrate with no matter what you have or no matter how your customers interact with your brand. Let's now take a look at how Cheetah Digital's Customer Engagement Suite and Cheetah Loyalty match up against these building blocks that are critical to building a world-class loyalty program that's unique. The Cheetah Customer Engagement Suite was built with our engagement data platform at the center. And this is the place where all of your customer data can be brought together in one place, no matter what type of data you have, no matter what signals you're bringing together. It's the foundation for the customer engagement suite. And then we have a series of applications of engagement, loyalty, experiences, messaging, that are tightly integrated with the engagement data platform so that they're constantly looking at the data and evaluating it as it changes, and then acting upon it based upon the business rules and the experiences you want to create for your customers. If you look at it another way, on the left side of this slide, we're bringing in all of the data signals that you possibly can capture. We help you instrument your business to be able to do that. And then all of that information lives within the engagement data platform for the experiences and messaging and loyalty applications to then act upon and be able to interact with your customers through any and all channels, websites, email, mobile apps, inside a physical place of business, whatever it is you have that your customers interact with, we can support. And then from a loyalty perspective, Cheetah Loyalty, a recognized leading solution in the marketplace, has all of the functionality that one would expect and then some to be able to support your business requirements so that we've built it and you don't have to when you want to deploy a world-class loyalty program. And it's everything from the basic functions around a points engine, integrated offer management, integrated rewards management, a whole series of gamification capabilities, the ability to manage very sophisticated customer status and tiers. We've integrated a mobile wallet channel to create that experience for your customers if you don't have it today. And then the ability to very tightly integrate with mobile apps and point of sale, regardless of what you have implemented inside your business. Let me take a step back and share with you some of the thinking we had and the design principles behind the Cheetah Digital platform. As a team, when we got together, we started with a clean sheet of paper, and we took the experience that we had many years in CRM and loyalty and marketing applications. We talked to many folks like yourselves to understand what was working and what was not working in their business and in their loyalty programs. And that knowledge helped frame 3 key design principles that were ingrained into the platform that we're talking with you about today. Those design principles include infinite flexibility, unique experiences, and rapid improvement. And we're going to talk about each one of these in more detail. Infinite flexibility. We learned from talking to folks that when they had implemented solutions in the past, they were very frustrated that they weren't able to meet the requirements as their business needs changed. So why is infinite flexibility important? Well, I think as we all know, consumer expectations are continually changing. Today, when you order something online, some vendors will provide you next day delivery. Some vendors will provide you, same day delivery. They'll give you an hour in which you'll receive something. And as consumers interact with and see these kinds of experiences, the bar gets higher and higher. And so it's important that you have an underlying technology solution that gives you the flexibility to, over time, continue to meet those consumer expectations as they change. Secondly, competitors are constantly improving. We know this is a game that's constantly changing in terms of what your competitors are doing. And going back to the same example I just used, if your competitors are offering something that raises the bar, you need to be able to respond. Having a technology solution that has the flexibility to adapt and evolve is absolutely critical. And I think we all know this third one. Marketing teams are continually coming up with a stream of new ideas. Probably since Bruce and I have been talking here for the last 20 minutes or so, people in your company have a half dozen or so more ideas that now they would like to be able to implement. And having a solution that has the flexibility to take those ideas and bring them to life is something that creates a competitive advantage for your business. And so Cheetah Digital helps create this infinite flexibility a variety of ways. We've talked about our engagement data platform and that it's modern and that it is able to actually bring any and all customer data signals together in one place. And it has the flexibility to let you decide what those data signals are, so you don't have to know day one, and over time, if they change, the system is flexible to change along with you. We also give our customers the ability to configure the business rules around how they want their programs to work without actually having to go custom code those rules in the system. So when you define your rules up front, it's quicker to actually implement, But because the world's constantly changing, when you want to change things, you don't have to go back and custom build or custom develop. You can configure, which is definitely much faster and easier to support over the long term. And then lastly, because of this idea of infinite flexibility was built in from the ground up when the system was designed, everything, all of the functions have been enabled through application programming interfaces and batch programming interfaces to make it easily integratable with anything within your marketing landscape. The second idea is unique experiences. So when we talked to brands, many of them felt their program looked very much like everyone else's in their brand category. And they also were treating their members the same. So from a member's perspective, the program wasn't unique. It was the same for member A as it was for member B. So we felt it was very important to create a system where the experience could not only be unique for the brand, so that the values of a brand could be reflected in their program, but also from a membership standpoint, Bruce's experience in the program could be totally different from John's, and it's based upon my passions, my interests. And so why is this important? Well, as we've talked about, customers are sharing information with you, their expectations are higher, they're expecting a personalized experience in return for sharing personal information. And so if you're just going to take their information and create the same experience that everyone else gets, over time they're not going to share as much with you and they'll get less value out of the relationship. It's also a fact that customers are unique, and the loyalty program should reflect and recognize this fact, and you'll deliver greater results through personalizing and delivering a more relevant experience based upon the information that you gather over time. And lastly, this idea that in order to achieve a competitive advantage, the program that you launch needs to be unique, and it needs to reflect the unique qualities of your brand. If it looks like everybody else's, it's not a unique competitive advantage. And so this is sort of just, it's an obvious thing, but it's absolutely critical to allow you to differentiate your program and help people want to join and want to continue to engage over time. So how does Cheetah Digital enable these unique experiences? Well, one, Cheetah Digital was designed with personalization at the core. And we'll be talking more about this over the coming weeks. But pretty much everything within the platform allows you to take what's unique about an individual and create a unique experience for them as part of the program, whether that be the rewards they receive, the content they see, how they earn and participate in the program, the offers they perhaps receive through various channels. All of that can be personalized based upon what you know about them and what you've learned about them over time. Because the data structure is so flexible and we can allow you to bring in any and all data signals, you then can use that information to create these unique experiences. And as we've said, no one really knows 6 months out, 12 months out, a year or more, all the potential things you'll want to understand about your customers. So having the flexibility to make some decisions today, but evolve that over time, huge advantage. And then lastly, the engagement applications, messaging, experiences, loyalty that sit on top of our data platform. These are all optimized to use the data, to monitor as the data changes, and then be able to personalize their interactions as applications with your customers to create that unique experience that you so desire to provide. The last underlying design principle that we're going to cover today is this idea of rapid improvement. Loyalty strategies are not set it and forget it kinds of initiatives. These are living and breathing ideas, and it's important to have an underlying technology infrastructure that enables you to continuously learn and improve. So why is this important? Well, very frequently your initial hypothesis of what will work and the various program tactics and things that you implement, it's very possible they may not be entirely accurate. And so you need to be able to adapt. And also, as we've talked about previously, one thing we can know that is guaranteed is change is continuous. So whatever you go in with, you have to realize 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, or later, you're going to want to be making changes, and you need to be able to support that change with your underlying technology infrastructure. Number two, the volume of customer segments and the signals data that's coming in requires constant learning. There's just too many variables to know right out of the gate what works, and what works today is going to change. So being able to continuously improve based upon your learnings will really set you up for success. And then lastly, brands that can learn and adapt have a significant competitive advantage. We learned that earlier this year with COVID-19. There were brands who were able to build strong digital connections with their customers and then use that information to recast their entire businesses and adapt to the current environment. And those businesses, many of them have thrived. Those that were not able to make those changes, unfortunately, some of them are out of business or many of them are still struggling. So having this ability to learn what works, learn what you need to adapt and change is a strategic advantage that you want to make sure you have built into your technology infrastructure. And Cheetah Digital helps bring this to life by enabling things like rich segmentation and targeting so that you can understand with analytics what's working and what's not, and then be able to take those learnings and make changes to improve the program performance over time. Also, the ability to quickly configure rules and change your tactics as opposed to having to custom program everything allows you to move very quickly and be able to respond to the changes that you notice in your business. And then lastly, features like machine learning, where you can use the power of the machine and computer to continuously take in data and learn in an automated fashion and drive improvement, brings huge advantage and huge scale in your ability to take the learnings that you have and turn it into action. At this point, I'm going to turn it back over to Bruce for him to share with you some of the resources that we have available so that you can learn more about some of the examples we've shared and how you can then take this information for your own customer loyalty journey. Bruce?
All right, John, thank you. Thank you for walking us through building blocks and design principles for delivering a loyalty program as unique as your customers. And what I'd like to do next is just share some resources for you, the marketing practitioner, that you'll find useful after today's session. First, don't just take our word for it today. We have many great customer stories that we'd love for you to participate in and check out. So first, these are all Signal sessions. You can learn about how And Pizza successfully accelerated their data-driven consumer strategy, and you can watch that on demand. Just use the URL or QR code. John mentioned Solling Group. Same thing. Check that out. That was a session earlier in Signals. Feel free to give that one a look. And then lastly, what's coming up later on in Signals is a very exciting session from one of my favorite brands where Van's family will share a little bit about how they use Cheetah to drive loyalty. And let me point you to some additional resources. First, the Customer Engagement Help Center will help you get access to additional information about all of the different Cheetah solutions that John talked about, product information, documentation, and so on. So please feel free to take a look at that. Secondly, we're constantly creating and curating thought leadership. So on the left, the Cheetah blog. I would encourage you to go look at the blog and sort by loyalty or really honestly whatever topic you're interested in. We have quite a bit of content out there for you. We also have a white paper. That's the Essential Guide to Modern Loyalty Programs. Feel free to give that a look and download the report. We also have videos on our YouTube channel, and seek out a playlist that's dedicated to you, the marketing practitioner. So take a look at product videos, tips and tricks, a lot of the content from Signals, and so on. And then also be sure to check out the Signals session that John did with Emily Collins earlier in the week, where she had a discussion with Forrester's Emily Collins. And with that said, that brings us to the conclusion of today's content. John, any closing comments?
I would just say feel free to reach out if you have any follow-up questions. And like Bruce said, I would highly encourage you to take a look at the previous sessions that we've had with some of the clients. They're great and you'll learn a ton.
Yeah, and then also don't be shy. You can see our email addresses on the screen. Feel free to reach out to John or myself. We'll be glad to follow up. Or if you'd like a copy of this deck, which has a lot of checklists in it that you might find useful, we'll gladly give that to you as well. Thank you for your time today and enjoy the rest of Signals.
Signals 20, the content series for marketing rock stars.